Behind me, fire, 3 fires actually, high, medium, and low. See the trivet is missing. They would then save that tallow and they would make soap out of it, and they would make candles out of it.
I work out.
And you can tell.
I can tell, it's very heavy.
The job was very, very difficult. This is a small one. Look at some of these larger ones.
Yeah.
And it's cold, and there's nothing in it. Imagine.
It was full. Oh my goodness.
And you know what happens in men. And the women wore woolen skirts.
Yeah.
Everything I had on was linen, everything else they had on was linen. Linen was the choice. But wool smoldered before it burst into flames, and thus they wore the woolen skirts. But even with that, the brick-lined oven, they would put a soft wood in there, of course. They would burn it until the bricks were hot. They would then put the bread dough in. Notice how far back this goes?
Right.
They could have baked up to 22 loaves of bread in here at one time. This is where they made their clothing, well, set the clothing going. This is flax. Flax, of course, is grown out of the ground. Linen can be, this is quite harsh linen, as you can see.
Right.
And as you know, there is fine linen. Flax is pulled out of the ground, it's not cut. If you cut it, you damage the fibers. So they pull it out of the ground when it's green and small. That's fine linen. When you let it grow to the full extent here, that's the harsh linen.
Okay.
And so practically all that we used here was harsh linen. This piece of equipment here is called a flax brake. You can see, you can figure out how it's used. You can crush it. But they didn't really crush the flax. That wasn't the idea. What you wanted to do was crack it. And as it cracked, you can see the fiber begins to show through. You can see here, you can see some of the fiber. Here you get a good view of some of the fiber showing through.
Right.
And there's an amazing amount of fiber in one of those thin little things there. And this is what you would come out with when you're done. There's the next step here called scutching. This isn't really a good example because it's been used a lot. There's usually a lot of pieces of husk in here. And then begin to beat it. The idea being to get as many pieces of husk off the here as they possibly could. And then they came over here, and there would be a whole series of these called hackles. And they combed it out. You would start with the widest here. You would comb it through until you came down to the last one here. And then you would have your flax.
Oh, I see.
And it's now ready to be made into thread. As you can see, it's quite quite soft.
Oh, it is. It's very soft.
The olden...
it almost feels like silk.
Yeah. The old poets and writers would write of flaxen-haired maidens, as you call it right there.
Huh.
And the toe comes from the pieces of husk. That's called toe. So I just think that's called a toe head.
Toe head.
Yeah. Now, as far as clothing was concerned, I may have had one other outfit. Not guaranteed. I may have. But generally, this is my outfit here. I would have a jerkin, which is a woolen vest. They would take fresh ashes, lime, and tree leaves, pour water into it. The water would leach down through all this and come out the bottom as lye. They would then take the lye and add it to the tallow, heat it up, and add it to the tallow, and then they would have soap. And they used the liquid soap. They didn't use the bar soap. Yeah, that was, when I was a kid, I used to always have naphtha around for poison ivy. Clean. But as far as body cleansing, they women use lilac water and things of this nature. But I'm sure it wasn't overly successful. The women worked in here. This is where they made herbal medicines. And this was one of the most important jobs because there were no doctors. Everything was prescribed by hand of pen. They would take the herbs, wherever they would happen to be, and grind them into a powder. And I'm going to tell you, this is really dog work. You stand there and you grind, and it had to be into a very fine powder. They would then mix the powders together, and here's the key, because many of these formulas had poisonous herbs as part of the formula, so you had to be real careful when you mixed them. Add them to rose water. You would label them, and when you were sick, you'd go to Hannah, and she would prescribe something for you. I neglected to mention also with beer, one of the reasons they drank it is because they felt it helped their digestion. They really had a lot of trouble with their digestion. They had quite a few different remedies for indigestion.
The right solution, always made it worse. Malt made it worse.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I just like the flavor of beer, so they put cloves in it.
Uh-huh.
And it really is a wonderful, wonderful room deodorizer. Keep under her bodice on her all times, and if you needed some spice, she would then take the key out, open it up, and dole it out to you. Of the manor house, the fire boys would live up there. And that was a prime spot in the wintertime, because this is one. Up ahead of us there, that's the dugout to me.